Wow. Has it only been a week?
No. Just kidding. Yes.
It's actually been a week. Comic fam, it's the best podcast in the world. The Bags and Boards show.
Second best podcast.
Second best. Yeah,
I do quite like that Ryan Stegman podcast, although it's done. It's done now.
It's on Substack. And you know what else is better? Scott Snyder's Comic 101, which is essentially a podcast.
We're pretty good.
Shoot. You know who else has a better I'm just kidding. We just like start listing them off. Comic
Why
fam.
are you even here?
We have Fire Guy Ryan in the house. It's the Bags and Boards show, number 60. We've made it 60 podcasts. Is there a milestone for 60? I don't think there is.
No. When does like retirement age happen?
It's got to be in the...
Is that a milestone? Is that a good
probably
one?
in the thousands, man.
I was talking about like actual retiring, like humans, not
Oh.
like channels.
Oh, when you're like 60 years old, you mean?
When you stop working and you get your old person card and they give you money for free? Is that how they'll be getting old?
I don't know, man, because the only card that I've gotten in the last 10 years is my Onion Club card.
You're gonna get to actually use that this week.
Maybe, maybe not. It's a secret.
It's not a secret. He's going to be at MegaCon too. You can go up to that booth.
Oh,
flash in your
that's
card,
right. Yeah, that's right. I'm going to... All right, Comic Fam. Let's actually... Should we start them off with the MegaCon information?
Might as well.
Okay.
Get the good stuff out of the way.
We're gonna hit you with some information here to start off the show. I'm gonna be attending MegaCon this week. I show up on Thursday. I'll be at the Thursday towards the end of the day at the convention. But Friday, Saturday, Sunday is really when I'm hitting it hard. Look out for me in the comics section. I'm going to be with Heron Heavens, but also the Golden Age Guru, Sammy and Tony from Skeleton Key Comics, as well as Danielle from Nerdy Girl Comics are going to be there. And I am streaming all weekend long. That's right. And why don't we... This is actually a perfect segue because the company that's making it possible is the best app to buy and sell collectibles in the world. Officially. Better than eBay. We have Whatnot. Available for both Androids and iPhones. Yes, Whatnot right here is the app to download. Click the link in the description. And if you do that, after your first purchase, you get a $10 credit to buy some funny books. But this right here is my Whatnot page. Comictom101 on Whatnot. And notice I have multiple streams scheduled out. They don't even show all the pictures yet. It's because I've scheduled so many that it's like still loading. So I'm going to be at MegaCon and we are going to be doing streams Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at the Whatnot booth. And that's not all. I'm going to be teaming up with multiple homies in the community doing some cool stuff. And I want to tell you about them. First off, I'm actually going to go hang out with one of my good friends since before the channel even started. Illest Illuminati, Javon Jordan. Also, he's going to be teaming up with the Comic Mint, who's going to be with In-Hyuk Lee and Chrissy Zulo. Amazing artists. And I'm going to be doing a stream with Illest on Friday around 4 o'clock, and then doing a stream with him on their Whatnot page at 4:30. I'm going to be doing like a half-hour stream myself, half-hour for them. And that way we can get the community some dope exclusives. Take a look at this one. Definitely a Kirkham-inspired Sav homage.
Okay.
Only 125 being printed of this one. This is really cool. Really excited about that. That's not all. I'm also going over to my homie's booth. We have, whoopsies. We have, let's see if we can make this a little bit smaller, a little bit bigger. Can we do it? Can we figure it out? We have multiple Jean Zhang variants. So you know Carnivore Comics is in the house. I'm going to go chill with my buddy Sean. And we are going to be apparently, possibly providing some signatures from Jean Zhang. Look at these variants that he's produced. Carnivore Comics, one of my favorite variant producing companies. He has multiple boys variants, but these are the Jean Zhang variants. But let's actually show him some of the other ones that he's done. Look at this right here. Livio Remdali, he produced this boys variant with Homelander outside of a flying airplane. And if you've seen the show, you know how epic this is. And that's not all. He has also teamed up with, let's see here. Oh, there's the creators. We got Lloyd Bailey, Zhang Zhang is going to be there, and Jonathan Hendrick. You know Jonathan Hendrick, an amazing writer, creator of the Recount, Space Cadet. So, you know, I'm going to have to bring some Recount books. Oh, I may or may not have a bunch of exclusives that I'm debuting at the show. May or may not be a Purge homage, Recount, Nate Johnson variant.
May not be, though.
It may not be.
He's not
It
saying
may be.
anything.
I'm not promising anything.
Or may not be. So he could just be making stuff up.
I could be making stuff up, but it's very unlikely that I am. So that's why you have to follow not just Carnivore, not just Illest and Comic Mint, but myself over on Whatnot. And that is not all. Look at the variants that Illest has over at his booth. He has the Sav variant. He has a Chromium Good Boy #1, as well as a Hail Crow #1. This is his new independent title that he produced. Very cool, fine art homage. And then, as mentioned, Johnny Desjardins. Look at this.
Ooh.
For Canceled #1. Johnny Desjardins did this impeccable piece of art.
It's horrifying, yeah.
It is actually very scary. And he's going to be teaming up with One Stop Comic Shop, and they have a bunch of cool variants. Look at this. We have a canceled variant here. We have this Radiant Black variant, as well as this like fun Star Wars Adventures variant. So join me over on the best comic app in existence to buy and sell collectibles. But also, if you are not going to be at MegaCon, I'm going to be there. Look for me on the con floor, but also just download the app and you can see the schedule because I'm going to be streaming all weekend long. Without further ado, let's get into the show. Oh, hold up. Not before we tell you about the next big way you can support the show, because we are actively in open enrollment for the June mystery mail call, Hot Damn Comic Fam. And it's about to get lit. I'm pretty excited about this.
I'm excited too.
All right, so we have a Fantastic Four cover. It's not only fantastic, it's not only all new, it's a cover done by Alex freaking Maleev.
There you go.
Here we go. Look at this, Comic Fam. I present our first Kang the Conqueror cover. Comictom101.com. Link in the description. And you can join the community. This is the best way to support what we do here. Gives us an excuse to send you comics every single month. We are sending out May's mystery mail call this week. That includes the Boys variants that we made. We're getting it all set up for June's release of Boys Season 3 with a Herogasm #1, first appearance of Soldier Boy, with a first appearance of Stormfront in Boys #7. We have Ben T going out to everybody. We have Johnny Desjardins going out to everybody. Low print exclusives going out to everybody. However, we are closed for enrollment if you are interested in getting a June box. If you are international.
May box.
That's right. Oh, May box. I keep doing that.
Getting them crossed. Crossed.
If you're interested in a May box still, there is one last chance for you to secure it. If you are international, this is the only way you can get a mail call from us. You have to download the app on Whatnot. With the power of Whatnot, we ship international, and we have buy it now options as well as international options. It's the same buy it now, but we can ship international. You just have to go to the Last Chance Whatnot stream that's already scheduled. Go to the buy it now section and you can buy a May mystery mail call box. I'm also going to be streaming tomorrow at 1 p.m. in the warehouse, and we'll show you a little behind the scenes, but also that's the live show, and that is your last chance before we shut it down completely and we move on to the box that you're seeing here, which we are in open enrollment. So if you're a U.S. Resident, or you have a U.S. address that we can send this to, you can subscribe at the cheapest rate that we have the mail call, which is $35 plus shipping monthly. And you will get, because this is one per box, Fantastic Four #1, all new Fantastic Four #1, Alex Maleev, Kang the Conqueror cover. How glorious is this comic book, Ryan?
The colors pop. I'm digging the force field effect. I'm not sure if that's a Sue Storm force bubble that she's got all them in, or if it's some kind of planet Earth hologram thing. Whatever, it doesn't matter. It's beautiful. I can't wait to bag and board all of these.
I know it's going to be looking good, Comic Fan. If you're interested in this book, you have to sign up now for the June mystery mail call. Unless you're already a member, because this is a monthly subscription, you can cancel anytime. But if you keep your membership, we allocate the boxes for you every month. So regardless of if we sell out, we've already counted you for the next month. That's how we roll. We take care of our community. Give us an excuse to send you comics every single month, and let's get into the show.
The show.
So it's bags and boards. number 60. We read some comics. We actually are going to be talking about some $10 keys because the con season is coming back. Amazing, amazing. And we also have a little bit of a story time to tell you. There's a lot of new members, Ryan. I think we have to give them a little bit of a backstory on how we met.
That's
true.
true.
You know, we have kind of an interesting history.
It's interesting, I guess you could say, too.
We've known each other for quite a long time.
It's a relevant word. Yeah.
So I want to have a conversation.
Decade now.
I think we have to have a conversation about it. Introduce the members a little bit about our, you know, how we met.
We are friends. I'm not
how we
just
started
some
this
guy
all.
that you grabbed off the sidewalk to come do a show with you 60 podcast episodes ago.
Well, it started with you editing, helping my scripts.
Yep. We'll get into that.
We'll talk about it here in a little bit. We have viewer comments. We're going to talk about salmon and how they reproduce.
It is an important part to know.
So stay tuned, hit the like, slap the subscribe button. As always, we do giveaways on our videos. Comment on the actual video, however. If you are here in the chat, we have almost 100 people here today. There should be 100 comments on this video by the time this stream ends, but there's never enough because if you want to enter to win this, you got to comment. And we randomly source from all of our videos. So the more you comment on all of the content, the more your chances increase.
And then we'll read them because I like reading the comments regardless of, you know, what they are. But we also source them for a segment on our show that we'll get into later as well.
That's right. And you're definitely going to want to be following us on Instagram, Comictom101 and Fire Guy Ryan, because we're going to be asking for some assistance in a little bit. I want to see some tags because I want to bring some members onto the show a little bit.
Okay.
We'll get to that in a second. But not before we talk about Batman? I'm feeling Batman right now, Ryan.
Who?
Batman.
What's Batman? It's like some indie comic?
We're running out of time, Batman.
Okay.
Ryan, let's talk about Batman Killing Time. Boom. So, this book is by Tom King. This is a great starting out point for just we're 3 issues in.
Sure.
And
Yep.
I'm already getting vibes of I'm going to own this and recommend it and just say, "Oh, you like Batman? Awesome." You don't have to know anything. Read this book. And I think that's going to be a surprise to a lot of people who have given up on Tom King post his initial Batman run that happened a long time ago. And if you didn't like it, it's been enough time that you should basically forget about it.
Yeah, Tom King is
And I didn't mind it, by the way.
I also quite enjoyed Tom King's Batman run, but it turned off a lot of people. But
it didn't turn you on, Ryan.
it turned me on in more ways than one.
That's right.
But it has been a few years since he has stopped writing the main Batman book. Also, the guy who picked up after him, James Tynion, has also come and gone on Batman. So it's been a while.
It's been a while.
Sure. Yes. I think Tom King has, in my mind at least, redeemed himself from some of the parts of that run that people didn't like as much.
Did Supergirl recently? You were telling me that you read that.
Supergirl was one of my favorite books of 2021. It was
Which is
my top 10 2021 books on my YouTube channel.
Tom King don't mess around, man. And you know what? This right here is proving that his ability to write Batman is definitely way above standard in this industry. And he's able to, in a short 3 issues, make me confident that in 6 issues, this is going to be a very memorable story that is a great opportunity for any Batman fan to enjoy something without having to worry about canonical stuff, you know?
Right. You're not jumping into a 100-issue run or something partway through.
No, this is Batman in his early years, right? The villains themselves are still doing team-ups. They're not even in their prime yet. You're seeing flashbacks within a timeline that's already dated quite a bit.
Yeah. It's so early in their runs here that everybody is inexperienced.
All right, let's chat about this, Ryan, because the first thing that I told you is that when I started reading issue 1, it's a focus on Killer Croc, right? He's about to go do a heist. And this whole narrative is, really focused on a heist that's taking place and different villains that are working together to accomplish it to different degrees. But we don't know if they're all working together or not. And Killer Croc comes on the scene in his OG wear. This right here is like straight up Bronze Age Killer Croc, like when he was first introduced. Look at this.
Because
because he's like hiding himself in a trench coat with that hat, kind of fedora.
Like Ben Grimm.
Look at that.
Okay.
I pulled this up. I'm like, oh, that right there is a total shout out to his introduction.
I like that.
And he appears in multiple comics before he gets that full appearance, which is why we have like minor appearances of Killer Croc in the comics. Because do you count this?
I'm learning.
That's him under the hat in that trench coat, but you don't see him in full until later. And that's why there's like multiple key books people are after, and they get all frustrated when people call him real first or full appearances, etc.
Cameos and whatnot. Okay.
All right, well, we have Tom King, but we also have an incredible artist on this run.
This is David Marquez doing the interior artwork in here, who did a lot of stuff for the Ultimate line at Marvel. Very, very clean, modern-looking art, which I love.
Very clean and attractive.
Yep.
Not just the heroes, but like Jim Gordon is looking like a model. Like all the women are beautiful for sure, but even the villains, they look good. Maybe not Cobblepot as much because it's Penguin, but still, Joker in this, he looks like he's just came off a runway.
Sure.
He has someone doing his makeup for him.
It's before he started cutting off his own face.
Yeah.
And wearing his own face.
Yeah, this is back in the day, man. This is before Joker goes all in.
Early Joker.
Yeah, he got sick of looking like the pretty boy, But we do have a lot of great artwork in this. The lighting is really what's important with Batman, especially the night scenes, and that's something that is accomplished really well with this artist. Makes it flow. And look at this. This is what I'm talking about. Look at Riddler. Such clean line work. Facial expressions are on point. That's another thing that I complain a lot about in, honestly, some DC storytellings, to be honest, is the expressions don't really match up sometimes. Takes me out of it. I wasn't getting that vibe.
Damn DC.
Specifically, though, man, there's a handful of DC books, and I'm like, who's doing this?
No wonder nobody likes you. Except for Ryan.
Ryan loves DC. But what is the story about? Like, let's give him a little bit of a tease.
That's one of the coolest parts about Batman, though, is you can kind of take the whole Batman mythos, the character, the villains, the whole city, and you can make that work in a horror sense, like James Tynion just did with the Scarecrow stuff, like Fear State. Right? You can get a pretty spooky story there. Or you can go like outright detective story, like in the recent movie we had, and get like a full mystery kind of. That's usually what Batman stories are.
If there was one thing that happened with the Robertson Batman movie, is that there was like a crazy adrenaline shot into that subgenre of Batman, the detective noir.
Right.
There's a reason why Long Halloween is like at every LCS right now.
That's fair. This comic is cool because it takes the Batman universe and tells a cool heist story in that world, which I don't think I've ever encountered before in a Batman comic, at least not like so extensively.
And it's called Killing Time, I imagine, because it's kind of jumbled up a little bit. You're reading this comic and you will get hit with a fight scene before the fight scene starts, before it begins, before the characters even meet up. You'll just be in the middle of a fight scene. There'll be a little bit of a break, and then they'll bring you back to, well, this is how they got there. A lot of foreshadowing in this. But also, you get random jumps back in time to key moments that have happened in Batman's history, but not just his, the Villains Rogues Gallery. This is when Catwoman was more of a villain.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So this is her on the roof, chilling with the Joker. And I love these types of scenes. You see a different kind of Joker, pre-ripping his face off, type of Joker. And he's just having a good conversation. He's kind of flirting with Catwoman to a degree, but you can tell that it's more of a colleague level of respect that they're working with here. Look at, they're back to back. This is wonderful.
Yeah, and I still go back to the thing you were saying about the time. Like at the very top of this page, they establish exactly what day this is, what time this is. December 29th at 3:14 a.m. And almost every new scene in this comic starts like that. Like, this is 3 hours earlier, they were doing this over here. 2 hours later, Croc is doing this at the bank. And it really makes me want to take all of those events and plot them out on a line. And it makes me really want to pay more attention and give this like a very detailed reread.
So you have a random shot in this. I pulled this panel here because it was too damn good. You have like a truth serum, and Joker is immune to it, so he decides to shoot up Batman in the neck with it. And then they stop talking about it, move on. So there's these little seeds that are being planted here that are as interesting as what's going on, and that's pretty freaking interesting. It's pretty exciting what's happening. This is like a packed comic. After reading issue 1, like sometimes when we do reviews of comics, we read issue 1 and we can riff on it for like 5 minutes and be done, and I can show 3 pictures, you know?
Right.
Because there's really not a whole lot that happens. It's like a moving scene and a light threading of a narrative. Issue 1 of this, I could talk to you about for like a half hour. There's so much damn stuff that happens.
It reminds me of like a Quentin Tarantino movie.
Yes.
How it will just do what it wants with the timeline, and you just have to have trust in the creators and have faith that you're getting a complete story and that it will reveal everything you need to know by the end of it. And I think we're in good hands here, especially we're halfway done. This is only a 6-issue story, which is like, I think, a record short miniseries for Tom King. He doesn't normally do 6-issue storylines.
All right, comic fam, are you reading Batman Killing Time? As mentioned in this very show, multiple times, I'm going to be recommending this to people. I'm going to be getting this graphic novel, but I want to hear from the community, what other DC-specific recommendations do you provide to individuals when they want to get into superhero stuff, but you want to, like, not overwhelm them? We were going to read Action Comics today. Yeah. And I'm behind on my Action Comics.
A little bit of honesty here.
So I started reading Action Comics last night to catch up, right? I have the comics. I have them all in front of me. I'm reading through it, and I'm like, damn, there's a lot, man. There's a lot. Let's hold off until next week because I want to give it the appropriate amount of attention, right?
And I love this book, so I'm ready to talk about it whenever. But I know what you mean. Like,
you open it, you're like, oh, man, I can't even imagine for a new reader. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's been a while since I've gone back to the start of this current story arc.
But this book, I did not get that feeling for 1 second. Every page is a moment that you just can't wait to find out what's next, but you're also spending a lot of time looking at it. You're investing time. You can really just kind of let go and, you know, have your reality be Gotham City, you know?
Yeah, it's a fun one. I'm pleasant. I don't want to say I'm surprised. I wasn't expecting this to be bad, but I wasn't expecting to like it as much as I do.
Comic fam, Batman Killing Time. I want to know what you think about it. And a way that you can let us know what you think about it is by commenting on our videos. As mentioned, it will enter you to win a giveaway, but it also may get you in the video. That's right. You are going to be like, it's like, oh geez, I'm going to make a Johnny Depp reference, but it has nothing to do with what's going on right now.
Topical.
It's as if transcendence is happening and we are becoming the internet. Do you remember when Johnny Depp became the internet?
Did not watch that movie.
Well, Johnny Depp becomes the internet.
Spoilers.
So, well, it's like the whole movie.
I don't have to watch it now.
Yeah, it's like, oh, Johnny Depp is here. Because, like, you know, the internet. So, Wi-Fi is not the villain in this section of the video. So, we're going to be talking about what you've been saying in the chat and some other individuals that are haters. That's right. Or maybe not haters, but like,
what are you doing
disruptors. Yeah, what are you doing here? You're going to see what we're talking about here in a second. Let's actually talk about viewer comments. What is this one? Bring on the salmon.
From Replicon Radio.
Replicon Radio says, bring on the salmon. So at first I was thinking,
what?
Oh, like smoked salmon? You ever had smoked? Remember? Do you remember? Have I ever made you like smoked salmon salad when you were here?
No.
Dude, I got to make you some smoked salmon salad.
That's a tongue twister.
It's really good. So I thought of that first, and then I thought, oh, maybe he's talking about like the pinwheels, you know, like it's like wrapped salmon with cream cheese on the inside. And then I realized, wait, Tom, you're being silly.
This is specifically asked for this.
Scout Comics.
Last week.
Look at this.
Do the salmon story.
Do the salmon story.
Says Jay.
Look at this one.
Do the park ranger and fish story, a.k.a. joke, on next video, please. Paul Johnson.
Oh my gosh, Ryan. Are you ready?
Do you remember it last week?
What happened?
For people who weren't here last week, we read this book called Ranger Stranger.
By Scout Comics. It's freaking fantastic.
We had a lot of fun with it. But you accidentally started telling a story in here that we did not want to do on the mic for whatever reason. I don't know, because I think it was fun. I quite enjoyed this part of the comic.
Yeah, me too.
So we decided not to read it, but you casually, offhandedly went like, if you guys want to hear it, let us know in the comments, blah, 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 whatever. And moved on. You probably didn't think anything was going to happen from it. But we got like at least 3 separate comments in that video saying, please do the salmon story.
Please do the salmon story. Comic fam, this is what happens. When you want it, we give it to you. You guys want salmon? We go fishing. You want me to talk about something, you know, like in a comic book? If you comment, We may talk about it, and we may talk about salmon. You follow me here? I also grew up in a place, a town, community, city called Snohomish, Washington.
Oh, yeah.
So when I read this story, it kind of hit home because we had we still do, big old pond in the backyard growing up, all right? And that pond would have salmon going, through it, right? Like, they pass through. And have you ever been around a river / pond that has salmon spawning in it? And
No.
do you know what that's like?
No.
So basically, there'll be a point of the year where randomly salmon start just showing up in the stream. You can see them. They're swimming, and then they go into the pond. And then they go through the pond after they're done, and they go off to the bigger water. And my parents live on 5 acres with a freaking pond behind it. We go fishing out there. Not a big fisherman, but my dad likes it. So randomly throughout the year, the shit would get flooded. The pond would flood because of beavers, all right? They'd be knocking trees down, and all of a sudden the water just starts lifting up.
You just had a lot of action in your backyard, it sounds like.
For 5 acres, man. We're not messing around out there, right? And this is something that I had to do growing up. One, I had to put like a whole Scuba Steve suit on and go out there and try to knock down the branches that the beavers put down that blocked the pond, because that water will just keep going up, right? You gotta make it so that the water can flow. But not just that. When the salmon go and they start spawning, there's a lot of them, dude. There's a ton. And what happens is those beavers, when they make those things that impede the water flow, the dam, it lowers the height of the water on one end and keeps it up on another.
Okay.
So a combination of that plus a abundance of salmon that, by the way, legally you can't touch the salmon. It's like a protected thing. We're going to learn about it here in this book. This is all going to be relevant. I mean, comic fan, as you're driving to my parents' house, you pass signs on the road that says, salmon crossing. So it's a joke growing up that all of a sudden you're going to see a salmon cross the road, like it's going to fly across the road. But what it means is underneath the road, the salmon is crossing. So it's like, stay out of the water, don't mess with the water. The salmon are going under the road. But it literally, we have signs out here in Washington that says salmon crossing. So, Ryan, you following me?
Barely, but yes.
Different water levels, salmon spawning, there's an abundance. What do you think happens when the salmon can't get to the next area and they're stuck in the pond? And the water is messed up and it's different levels and it's flooding.
They form into some kind of salmon megazord.
Close. They just die.
Oh, that's sad.
So, imagine.
So the beavers are just murdering a bunch of salmon?
I mean, it's a combination of a lot of things. It's nature. It's hardcore out there. But basically, there's a point of the year, many times in my childhood, where I'd have to go out there and deal with the carcasses. They would just float up and get onto the grass. Everywhere. Dead fish everywhere.
Free lunch.
You can't touch them. You can't eat them, can't do any of that. You have to let the natural stuff happen. But if it comes onto the grass, you know what happens?
Stanky fish.
And you know who likes stanky fish?
Dead birds.
Not just birds.
Your dad.
Not just my dad.
I don't know.
Dogs.
Dogs.
And we have dogs growing up.
Like packs of stray feral dogs.
So just randomly, those dogs would just roll in the dead fish.
This is a horrifying story, Tom.
So I'm saying all of this to you, comic fam, for one very big reason.
For a reason.
Anthony Perron says, nobody cares. And I think that's true. Nobody cares about the salmon when they should.
I wasn't expecting this story, but I care.
Ranger Stranger. Sort of. Let's get into it. This is a story about salmon. Cry me a river, Anthony Perron. We have episode 4.
Salty.
I will play the girl as always.
Oh, okay. I gotta get back in the zone.
Get into character, Ryan. This is the salmon story. Let's do it.
As requested by our amazing comic fan.
Are we going to blow up the dam?
Hey, Mr. Woodburn, are we here for a picnic? No, you little psychos.
Stay in character, Ryan.
This was fun. No, you little psychos. That's next week's episode. We're here for the annual salmon spawn. Okay, story time. Oh, this is a big one. I see why you didn't want to do this one. There's a lot here. You see, every autumn for millennia, Onophonicus nerca makes a suicide run from ocean to creek bed, battling all manner of predator and obstacle just to lay eggs and die. But in sweet death, nature's fragile infrastructure is born anew. Yep.
Oh,
You blew it.
I blew it. There we go.
Sadly, man's hunger for megawatts and poke restaurants, is that right? Poke restaurants has laid, can't read that, has laid waste to the salmon. In 1973, liberals finally freed our finid friends, and they now enjoy a fighting chance at failure with a helpful water maze called a fish ladder.
So what we're looking at is the ranger and explain to the girl and her beaver on the dam about just like what they're doing, trying to help the salmon. I just told you the story about how important it is, to protect the wildlife. And describe what you see here, Ryan.
There is a, have you seen Aladdin, the cartoon?
Yes.
You know, at the very beginning, when that guy with like one crooked tooth and that weird like sacrifice dagger, like that's what this guy looks like an old man who just emerged from the cave somewhere. Like really gross, beat up old man is stuck in a pipe in the middle of this lake. Let
me move this up for the comic fam to see because they can't see it here. There we go. Look at this. Boom. He's stuck in a pipe.
Like some drunk old man.
Look at this. He's stuck in the pipe. All right, go ahead and read it.
Also got a call that Gravel Joe fell in the creek and is blocking the intake grate. Can't have him scaring the fish, so I'll just yank him out of here.
Gravel Joe,
poking him with a stick. The ranger stranger here. Whoop! Well, no problem. It drains to the sea. So he just got like sucked into this intake pipe.
So now we're looking at a group of Boy Scouts checking out the salmon from inside a viewing area.
Hackaneck Dam salmon viewing window. Like
Hackaneck Dam.
At the aquarium or something that lets you watch the fish swimming around.
And then now we see Gravel Joe screaming for his life, swimming with the salmon in this infested water, scaring the crap out of children. Comic fam, this is what comics are about. Making you laugh sometimes. This is what's fun about this particular book is that it's just a quick read and there's like little jokes. And that's it. That's the whole story there. But it's that one comic is filled with like 7 of those types of 3 or 2 page jokes, sometimes a single panel, Oh my goodness. What is this next? Can you give me a little bit of a preamble about this? Like what was this in reference to, this next one?
This was from the video we did on the Can't Miss box. And one of the books in there we talked about that's going to be included in the Can't Miss box from Millgeek Comics is called 8 Billion Genies. It's
oh, that's right.
It's a #1 that came out last week where everybody on Earth got a genie and got one wish. Side note, just so happened to be my favorite book of last week. We're going to end up talking about that eventually, I'm sure, at some point on this show.
Absolutely.
But you also asked, what would be your guys' wish? If you got a genie and a one wish, what would you wish for?
So this is what Lambda Juggernaut wished for.
I'd be a D-bag and cancel everybody's wish. Laughing face emoji. In my defense, think of all the bad wishes that people would wish for that would/could destroy us. So I have to stop them before they ruin us.
That is a astute wish to think of. I enjoy that wish.
Read the comic too, because you're not alone in that one.
I like that. I'll
say that. It's a really cool book, and it was way better than I was expecting.
Oh, that's right. And you said you wanted to like print money, so I said, so you just print coins. It's like pennies. You just print pennies.
Yeah.
Whoopsies.
Lame.
Ryan will cover this. It'll take like 10 minutes or so for him to get 50 cents, but it'll be worth it.
Will it?
Yeah. I'll be your roll guy.
I feel like
I'll always have little rolls with me so we can stuff the pennies in.
Am I like Spider-Man? Are they like blasting out of my wrist? My penny holes in my wrist?
You like gold balls,
or
but out of your wrist?
Like kind of squirting out of my wrist.
It comes out like a squirt.
Like,
it just kind of,
I got one.
It flops out of your wrist, a penny.
So you multiply that by the hour, and like the amount of money I could make in 1 hour by making wrist pennies is compared to like a job. I feel like it wouldn't be worth it.
You'd make more money working pretty much anywhere.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
But you'd still have cash.
That's right. Oh, you know what else would be really good is you'd be a good person to bring on a hike. Because we'll always have a trail to follow back.
Huh.
There we go.
Smart.
The more you learn. All right. So this is another weird thing that happened. This is to our haters and to those who are just here to cause trouble. Right, Ryan?
Right.
So we have
haters is the right word.
Okay, well, I say haters because like these individuals here have stormed our chat as well in podcasts, and it's been very distracting in the past. But I'm talking about spammers because like it's almost.
Are they real? Is this a real?
They're not real. They're
like
just okay. So basically, we're being attacked in the comic book industry.
Right.
We have, and I have no problem with either of these fields of interest. All right, I have no problems with them. I'm all about you do what you want to do. I love it. There's a community for everyone. There have been times that in our chat we will be spammed by, go to this OnlyFans, go to this OnlyFans, go to this OnlyFans, go to this OnlyFans, go to this OnlyFans. Hey, you want to go to this OnlyFans? And we have moderators that have to delete, and put people in timeout, and then all of a sudden there'll be another person. Also about crypto. So it tells me that there is a target audience for both of these fields of interest, study, investing, leisure, that are looking for comic book themed content specifically to market. And we have 37 likes and 5 comments that are from no one in our community. It's just the same community group that's spamming the video, because this comment was on a James Tynion breakdown of Nice House on the Lake.
Sure.
So I wanted to read a little bit of it.
There has been no comment on any video we've ever done that I've ever seen that has 37 thumbs up on it, like out of nowhere. It's just a little strange. That was one red flag. Also, the gigantic size of this comment was...
Yeah. Give them a taste of it, because this is... the plan is, on their end, I'm imagining... this is Elaine, by the way. Oh.
I'm sure it is.
We Googled comic book, and they may be interested in crypto.
Trying to get in the mind of how a bot works?
Yeah.
I don't know.
And I mean, there's just like massively, posting everywhere. But this is James Tynion. This is a comment about James Tynion. Go ahead.
Elaine Valentina. I have learned in recent months is to remain calm, especially when it comes to investments in cryptocurrencies. Learn not to sell in a panic when everything goes down, and not to buy in euphoria when everything goes up. Right there. That one sentence you could take out, and that's
I have
solid
never
stock advice.
in my life heard someone say, "Don't buy in euphoria."
Sure, there's some weird grammatical things in this comment. I'll give you that. But that's good investment advice. That one sentence, sure. Buy low, sell high.
About a James Tynion review.
But yes, in Nice House on the Lake, it's a little out of place. I don't know how it landed here, but there you go. I advise y'all to forget predictions and start making a good profit now, because future valuations are all speculations and guesses. The market is very unstable, and you cannot tell if it's going bearish or bullish. While myself and others are trading without fear of making a loss, others are being patient for the price to skyrocket. I would say trading has been going smoothly for me. I started with 2.5 Bitcoin, and I have accumulated over 7.6 Bitcoin in just 3 weeks, with the trading strategy given to me by expert trader Connor Jordan.
I think we found our culprit. What are the odds?
We just gave them way more.
I know, they're getting way more. This is what they want.
I guess.
Connor freaking Jordan has infiltrated our feed. This is why you have to comment on our videos, Comic Fam, because if you don't, it's going to be taken over. Here's the proof.
Connor Jordan could win the giveaway. A random giveaway that we're doing, right, Tom?
So someone separately named Donna Fisher says, with the guides and signals of Connor's trade, I was able to increase my initial 0.5 Bitcoin to 3 Bitcoin with an interval of 5 weeks. But then James Fred had to say something.
Came out of nowhere, James Fred. He deserves more accolades, just the same way I was going through comments and I saw this. I gave it a try and bet something I never regretted.
What are the odds?
Dale LaRue.
Dale.
It's a completely different
This is a completely different person.
We're done with the Bitcoin
We're
stuff.
done with the Bitcoin
Thank
stuff.
goodness. Thank you, Dale, for bringing us back to earth.
I was just like laughing my ass off, because it's just comment after comment. There's like 5 of them on there where it's like, yeah, actually Connor did help me. Oh, help me too. It's like, what are the odds that these people would find this one comment? It's like they're all the same person.
I don't know how this works. I feel like Connor's got like 7 different YouTube accounts.
Connor's hustling it hard.
Pretty cool.
All right, but now we're talking about Dale.
Sure, Dale's got something important to say, actually.
Yeah, this is the kind of comments we want to see.
Thank you, Dale.
Dale, we appreciate you.
especially after all of that. Okay. Ugh, I'm all heated, man. Bitcoin turned. Okay. Now that the Marvel horror genre is about to explode, do you see other titles that feature Dracula, Frankenstein, and the werewolf rising in value also? These characters aren't specific just to Marvel. DC's Weird War Tales 93, featuring the first appearance of Creature Commandos, seems to be rising in value also. Could there be a rebound for books such as Classics Illustrated Frankenstein? Also, it would sure expand the market.
Absolutely. I really believe it to be an area of opportunity. We've been saying it on the show for over a year now that with all this added interest into collecting major keys, blue chip books, for example, some of the ones that were slower moving but have absolutely caught up were, post-code horror, right? Like I'm talking Tomb of Dracula for one. I bought that Tomb of Dracula 9.8 when it was under $2,000 3 years ago.
It's been a while.
2.5 years ago, 3 years ago. That book has like tripled in value. And we were just chatting about the first living mummy on one of the most recent Gem Mint.
It's your boy Gem Mint.
List videos that we did. Are people investing in Frankenstein books? Well, clearly they are. We're seeing record breakers for 9.8 first living mummy, first Frankenstein in like the Bronze Age. And what ends up happening is if those books are shooting up, then books that are a bit more wanted, such as Neil Adams' Tomb of Dracula 1, or even other occult-esque type of books, Legion of Monsters, Man-Thing, for example, Morbius, which has its ebbs and flows because of the movie, but regardless, the fact that it exists and that it happened alongside of characters like Moon Knight, we had Damien Hellstrom had his own Hulu series just like a couple years ago. Clearly, Marvel's intention for supernatural-themed shows is very strong. There's still Spirit of Vengeance spec happening right now. There's also the Midnight Suns is constantly being spec'd on. I'm seeing record breakers for that every other month when any type of news moves. So if that's where everyone's focus is, it's the stuff that people aren't looking at that's prime to secure before it goes up. Because if the stuff that people are focusing on goes up, then the stuff that's lower also rises. The floor rises on everything else. And I think every one of these recommendations in this this comment from Dale is fantastic.
Well done. You had me at horror, so that was...
And it's cool.
That's all I cared about.
It's really cool
just
stuff.
Just so happens to be my favorite genre.
Yeah, it's actually like, you get those similar feelings with just collecting EC horror. What do we got with Jeff?
This is Jeff Superscript. This is a good comment from our Nice House on the Lake video. A relevant one. I was also blown away when I first read The Nice House on the Lake. Over the course of the issues that have come out, I have heard some people complain that the pace is too slow, but the slow pace serves the narrative perfectly.
Absolutely.
I continue to love this title so much and can't wait to see where it goes. P.S. JT4, Jimmy T, James Tyne, and the fourth has said that Walter is modeled after himself.
Oh, I'm so glad that someone said that. Right. I was going to ask James this weekend. Okay. So that helps. Yeah, well said, Jeff. And I agree. I have no problem with the pacing. If anything, I have more of a problem that it's going to end soon.
4 more to go.
Yeah, I want more. I want more. Mas. All right.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, there's the other.
There was more Bitcoin stuff.
We have more Bitcoin, but I just want to prove that there's more. It's like there's more back and forth between people that don't exist. You nailed it. I've lost so much money in the past trying to trade my own. It's just so silly. I love it. This is just more encouragement to the comic community to comment on our videos, because if you don't, other people will. And it's the people that are commenting, it's a little rough, it's a little rough. Okay. Now let's take a quick little moment break to have a very serious conversation about our sponsor of the show, Hero Restoration. Hero Restoration, you can go to their website, herorestorationcomics.com, for your pressing, your cleaning, and your restoring needs. And I've been posting on Instagram some before and afters, parts of the process that you need to see. Have you seen some of these, Ryan? And how just absolutely impressive it is?
I almost wish you didn't have to show the before first, because when I'm just scrolling and I see a really horribly damaged book, it scares me at
you
first.
Feel it on the inside. And imagine if you were the cause to the damage. That happens too. It's that much worse. However, I'm going through and I'm watching some of their process that they kind of show off a little bit. You don't get to see the whole thing. We get to see them dabble in a little bit here and there with giving you a little bit of a peek behind the curtain. And it's fascinating. So I encourage you to follow me at Comictom101 on Instagram because you're going to see those posts, but also Hero Restoration on Instagram. It's going to be a lot of eye candy for you because you get to see those before and afters, and you just feel better after that. You just feel better. It's like a breath of fresh air to watch a comic go from a moment to a happy moment. It's best self. And they're a sponsor of the show. And let me show you. I don't know. Shall we just party a little bit? Should we take a little break and party?
Always.
Let's do it. Hero Restoration.
That part was added on.
And we're back.
That's
all
our
right,
party.
Comic fam, we are now going to get into a very, very long story. Not that long, actually. I met Ryan years ago, and we've grown so much in the comic space that I think we should give people an update, a little bit about us, how
Who
we
am
met.
I?
How did this all happen, Ryan?
We
Because
met
you
at
were here from the very
McDonald's,
beginning.
like 3 weeks ago, and you said, "Hey, I need help with this podcast. Can someone help me?" And you just kind of announced it generally to the restaurant at large.
Yep, you
And
were
I was like wiping ketchup off my face, and I was like, "Oh, I'll do it."
it was sweet and sour sauce.
Oh, see, I'm already forgetting the
I
finer
remember.
details.
You can't forget about the sweet and sour. No, for those of you who don't know, I've met Ryan. Actually, I hired Ryan. Fire guy was hired when I was working at the bank. For those of you who don't know,
Hired guy.
I started off my adult career at I just hit my elbow so hard. Oh, funny bone. Wow. That's real.
That's the dangers of moving.
That is
too much.
real. That just happened. Okay.
Don't move. You'll be
Oh
safe.
my goodness. Yes, comic fam, hit the like button. Slap the subscribe button.
Pennies.
My elbow is on fire right now. Ryan, shoot out pennies out of your hands.
It doesn't shoot. It just
It just rolls.
plops out.
I got
like,
this.
Like a poop.
So I met Ryan at the bank. So when I was 18, I got a job as a teller at Wells Fargo. Seemed like a good idea. And then I just figured out how to move up the chain. I was managing branches by age 21. They would send me to a new location that they were opening, and I was the guy at the desk in the suit, opening the location for the first time, establishing some of the first accounts and working with the first accounts of the community where that Wells Fargo was.
Like the Wolf
Union
of Wall
Bank.
Street is what I'm imagining right now, basically.
They had jokes like that because I looked so young.
Right.
But it was definitely one of those situations where it was like, oh, he is a go-getter, and here's an example of what you can do if you work hard at the bank. So I was kind of being used in that way. But I was also good at my job. And a big part of it was managing the location. I did less of the customer-facing stuff unless I needed to. And I got a lot of experience dealing with some really upset people, some challenging times. When someone has a financial crisis, you're dealing with that. You're learning about finances. And I'm 21, 22 years old. I barely have my own finances figured out at that point. And I'm telling people stuff I'm learning from training and this is how you get set up for retirement. As I'm
just out of high school.
I'm out of high school, whatever they were thinking. But at the time, I was getting awards for being the youngest manager of Wells Fargo in the country. I don't know if it was of all time in their history, but at that time they were
have those displayed. Well,
Yeah, I have some really funny pictures because I just didn't care that much. I was I was doing it, but I'm a prankster at heart. So whenever I got pictures with VPs or something, I knew it was so much for show that I would I'd do faces with them and stuff. Yeah, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, okay.
But not that drastic because I had to keep my job. But it was definitely wow, he kind of looks weird in that picture. And I'm I know. I like that. But anyways, so I was opening branches. I was working at established stores, right? I would move around. I started as assistant manager, but then I started doing the higher level stuff. And I would manage the mortgage. I would manage the the mortgage section, the financial advisor section, the bankers, the teller team, the assistants, what they call the service managers who deal with the vault and the counting and the ordering of money and all that kind of stuff. So I needed some tellers at this particular location in Linwood, and I was only hiring people getting that experience for a year or so. So I was kind of new at it, but I was figuring it out. And then I needed a teller. I interviewed a few tellers, and then this guy, Fire Guy Ryan, he walked in the door. He sat down, and I interviewed you. And that's actually the first time we met. So why don't you take over? What happened from there on out?
Well, my perspective, I'm going to rewind, because while you were storming the gates of capitalism and dominating Wells Fargo at 20 years old, I was working at the food court at the mall.
Where were you working at the food court?
I worked at Cinnabon for a while.
You worked at Cinnabon?
Yeah.
I don't even remember you telling me you worked at Cinnabon.
That was my first real job.
Did you get Cinnabon
I did.
For free?
I did, and
it
was a great
dangerous
week of my life. So I was like, sick. I'm bringing all these home. I got food for days.
I got Cinnabon for days. He says
it was.
Oh my gosh, that's
it was really
ridiculous.
Cool for a week. And then I brought, you keep bringing them home and you're like, geez, goddamn. I hate this.
I hate Cinnabons too much.
The important part was everybody else loves cinnamon rolls. So people who came up, I would see a lot of people coming up from other places at the mall, including the manager of GameStop would come up, get coffee every day, and I would hook him up. He's like, hey, it's a free coffee, bro. I'm cool. And eventually he's like, you want a job? You like working here? So I was like, sure, let's have an interview. And I managed to parlay that job into a GameStop job. I ended up working at Jamba Juice for a year. I had a little bit of a mall career right out of high school. But then the mall,
Stuff.
There's a ceiling on that.
Yeah, you can only make so much.
Exactly. So I was like, I need a big kid job. And my mommy was like, you should work at a bank, Ryan. That's an adult job.
Anthony Perone says he also got free diabetes.
That's true. No, I had to pay for that.
You had to pay. You had to pay
extra.
extra. It's for the extra sauce on top.
Yeah.
The cream cheese and the frosting. You know what's funny? Before you move away from the Cinnabon gig story, when I was younger, one of the first times my parents, sometimes your parents, not sometimes, but it's like, there's a point where they feel comfortable leaving the kids at home alone. And typically it starts off slow, like, hey, we're going to go out to eat. We'll be back by 6. Don't mess up. Don't leave the house. Keep it locked. Watch TV, but we're going to trust you. And then eventually it's hey, we're going to be gone all day. And then it's hey, we're going to be gone for the day or the weekend, And that's when kids, they start having parties and stuff and it starts getting crazy. No parents, no rules. The first time my parents left for 6 hours, right? My mom was pregnant with my sister. So she and my dad, they went to a parenting class for the day. It was an all Saturday type of thing. So I stayed at home to play PlayStation all day.
Hell yeah.
My mom bought me a Cinnabon.
Oh, no.
She's like, hey, Tom, we got you Cinnabon. Put it in the microwave for 15 seconds.
Oh, no.
20 seconds. Okay. I think she said 20 seconds. And
sure.
I'm watching Lizzie McGuire,
Who was it?
Or Famous Jet Jackson. I'm distracted as you can be. I mean, the show is that damn good. And I'm like, oh yeah, 20 minutes? Sure. So they leave and I'm like,
that's a bad
no parents, no
right
rules.
There, man. Right.
I'm ready to go.
Got their money back for that one.
I'm going to be by myself. And I put that Cinnabon in for 20 minutes. And then I go back to watch my Famous Jet Jackson or whatever it was. Actually, you know what? Kind of what I remember. It may be wrong, but it was the...
Luck of the Irish.
That was a great one, but it wasn't that one. It was the Xenon.
Ooh.
Girl of the 21st Century. I think that's what it was. You make my heart go boom, boom. My supernova girl. God, Ryan. Yeah. That's why he's my best friend.
Baby.
You freaking know. All right, so I'm watching this movie or show, and I look to the right, and I'll never forget it. Smoke and flames are just
billowing out of it.
But the thing is they're in it, it's in the microwave, so it's contained, but there is smoke protruding out from the top. And then, of course, your initial reaction is, I got to open it up. So I run to open it, and then smoke piles into the house. So this 8 hours of me, independent Tom. I got a Cinnabon. I'm going to play PlayStation. It's going to be a good Lizzie McGuire marathon day. Turned into hide the smoke smell from my parents.
You can't do it.
And then I'm also thinking microwaves have to be ungodly expensive. I'm not going to be able to get my Game Boy Color. My mom's like, I have to replace the microwave maybe. So I'm cleaning the microwave. And I'm little, guys. I'm 10 years old,
I got a microwave story to tell after this.
Okay. Microwave. This is all about us meeting, but you know what? We're
going down these tangents, man.
But anyways, 8 hours of me trying to clean the house, trying to cover up a smoke smell to have it be foiled as soon as my dad walks in. Why does it smell like smoke?
Damn it.
Yeah, it's like, damn it. The whole day was ruined and it didn't work. Anyways, talk to me. Microwave story.
I made a mess on the microwave. You know, the tray that rotates?
Yes, I do.
Definitely older.
I do know about the tray that rotates in the microwave.
The
glass tray.
Surface. You can take
Comic fam, do you know about what we're talking about? The glass?
The inside of a microwave?
On the inside of the microwave that goes in a circle?
You take it out and you scrub it under the sink, right? When it gets too gross.
Well, you're supposed to do it before it gets too gross, but yes.
Sure. At a certain point in my childhood, it got really gross.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, that's lame. I got to clean this. I don't want to clean it, you know? And I look over at the oven, and I see the oven has a self-cleaning option. You just turn it on, and it cleans the whole thing, right? So I'm like, that's got to work for microwaves, too.
You just put it in the oven?
No. I just went to the microwave, and I just turned it on for like a minute with nothing in it.
Oh, you just wanted to blast it away.
Just to cook the heat, to cook all the trash off.
It's like you're going to teleport the
That's not how it works.
The garbage that's on there.
The gamma radiation in the microwave.
Yeah, you're trying to gamma radiate it.
It has to go somewhere.
Yeah.
It went into the glass thing and it just cracked, like right in half. Like it broke the whole thing because I guess there's nothing in there to absorb.
How long did you put it in?
No.
Yeah, because those things are in there like
with
like stuff.
A really scary like clunk, like a breaking noise, like oh crap.
Wow. You know, this is amazing stuff because I'll also recall, because I'm going to bring it back to how I met Fire Guy Ryan. We have had microwave videos on this show. We've put comics in the microwave before.
Yep.
So full circle. Back to the bank.
My mom was like, "You need a big boy job, Ryan. You're an adult. You can stop working at the mall. Let's get you a job at the bank,
someplace with insurance, Ryan."
Right. And you can wear a suit and a tie and you be a real man.
Be a real man,
right.
Ryan.
So I went to the bank. I had an interview with you.
Did your mom actually tell you need to be a real man?
This was mostly from my mom. She's like, you need to work at a bank. That's a grown-up's job. You don't want to work at the food court anymore. Okay. And I was like, you're right, Mom. I'm an adult now. I'm gonna be a grown-up. So I went and got a nice little shirt with a tie on it. And I went and had an interview with you. And I remember afterwards I wrote a letter.
Yeah.
You remember that? My mom was like, you got to write a letter.
You got to write a letter. Yeah, you did.
And tell them you're interested afterwards. Thanks for the interview. You know, whatever. It was nice. It was a pleasure to meet you.
Ryan had the job before he even did this letter. I'll let the community know a little foreshadowing. I had him.
You hear that,
He
Mom?
was locked in after the interview. And you want to know something funny? All the things that got you the job, I'm sure your mom would have not, she would have recommended you not talk about in the interview. She's like, go be a big boy, talk about how you can count money, how you can talk to customers, how you can sell and be responsible. What did we talk about in the interview?
How did we get to talking about comic books?
I think
it came up.
You had mentioned that
there too. It was not just you and me. There was another manager in the room too.
That's right.
She didn't want anything to do with comic books.
Shout out Nicole. She was cool.
Nicole. Okay.
Yeah,
see? Okay. I forgot.
Yeah.
I already replaced it with Ava in my head. But no, it was Nicole. Yep. Okay.
Yeah. So this guy, she was awesome. So we did the teller stuff, but then we asked, what do you like to do for fun? And you said you like to play video games. You also enjoyed superheroes, like you enjoyed comic books, reading. And no, I think what you said is you enjoy reading. And then I asked you, oh, are you into comic books? And you said yes. And at some point you let it slip that you had a Green Lantern tattoo.
Right, which is probably not a good job interview thing to say, unless you're...
I'm like, look at my Hellboy tattoo.
Look at the sleeve I have.
Under my... Like,
right, you had like a long... We both had long shirts on, so I couldn't show you my tattoo.
I think I rolled mine up. I'm like, oh, I got stuff. I got turtles here. There's Ryan.
There's a Green Lantern tattoo on my very pale arm.
So at the time, I had been... Dude, I was 21, 22 years old, right? I had been like 22 at this point. And I was running things. I could do what I wanted. So I'll tell you, I was on eBay a lot. And when you buy a lot of comics off eBay, you want to get that shipped right. And I actually figured out that the way you can overcome your mailman bending your crap in stuffing it in your mailbox.
That's why you did that. Okay.
I just put the Wells Fargo address and shipped all my comics to the branch. So I'd go to work and I'd have packages and I'd do my unboxing there. And then I would be like, this is why I need my soundboard. I need like a phone ball. I click the little button and I call the teller line. I need to speak to Ryan.
Very important business meeting.
Yo,
you have
Ryan.
to have right over here.
Yo, Ryan. you got to go check this collection out. And then Ryan's gonna be like, Tom needs me, and I'm the boss.
I need to go speak to the boss, you guys. I'll be right back.
Like he's being managed by someone else.
Yeah.
But I'm that person's boss. So whatever I said, all right, go. Tom needs to talk to you. I could talk to Ryan for like a half hour, and it's like Tom's having a one-on-one meeting, right, and I'm over there showing him my recent Bowen statue that I had delivered to the branch.
I'll remember the Giant Man. That's the one I always remember because it was enormous. It was a big box.
Big dude. Giant Man was like, it was tall statue. That was actually
a Black Widow, if I remember correctly, there at your desk too. Your desk at your bank office was decked out like this room.
Oh, it was bad. It was bad, but it was good times.
And I remember you put me in your phone as Fire Guy Ryan.
Oh, right out the gate.
Like this is not a Instagram, YouTube creation for me. This was.
Your name was Ryan. It was too easy, and you also enjoyed The Office. And all throughout my rise in banking, I worked at branches that, hey, if you did your job really well, you kind of got away with doing whatever you wanted to do. So I brought all my seasons of The Office on DVD to the break room, and everyone loved The Office, so we just had it playing all day long. And we would just pop a disc in and let it play. And then whoever was, someone walked in, pop another disc in. So there was always Office playing all throughout the day. I carried that type of energy over to my branches. So in my break room, I had The Office, of course, but I also had a Sega Genesis, and I had a Nintendo 64. I had Super Smash Brothers and Sonic. And on my break, I would go back there and play video games. And I think I told you that. Hey, we can go and play some Super Smash right now if you want. And
I remember,
that got you the job.
I went into the break room one day and I saw on the fridge it was like a magnet or a sticker or something, and it had this weird guy with the mustache who I'd never seen before, and it said the Ron Swanson Pyramid of Greatness.
Yes, I put that up on the fridge
at work. And I was
did.
This guy must be like the corporate, manager, the district manager or something. I don't know who Ron Swanson is. So I had never seen Parks and Rec at the time.
Gee, I don't mess around with my Parks and Rec and my Office vibes, dude. Come on.
It was definitely there.
So that's how we met. We'd also meet Heron Heavens in around this time as well. Mm-hmm. And then fast forward, we would stay in touch. We'd stay friends. You and Aaron actually started to become closer friends after I left. But we all kind of kept in touch. And it wasn't until about 4 years ago when I decided to branch from Instagram to YouTube. And because I was inspired to do other things, I was recently unemployed. And I was deciding, do I go back into like the finance industry or do I do something else? And the something else to me was my passion. And I always loved comic books. I was already doing comic stuff. So I decided, let's just try it out. I'm going to go all in on comics. This is the time to do it, right? The company I was working for got bought out by Amazon, and Amazon fired everybody. And when I say fired, laid everyone off, and I got I got severance and things like that. So I actually had like a cushion to, safety net a little bit. That it was like, all right, if I'm going to take a chance, this is the time to do it in my life. So I did it. And I wrote a script. And if you go, the videos are still on YouTube, Comic Fam. They're cringy, but they're there. My first couple videos were like just me on camera, spitting fire
directly into the camera.
Yeah, it's just me spitting fire, talking about whatever. I got
a lot of this, a lot of...
Yeah, and talking about comic books that are whatever. And I wrote 2 scripts, and I realized...
in the wall.
That was it. That was the first one. Someone found an Action Comics in the wall of their home. And I realized I am not that great at writing. And if I'm going to do this on camera just by myself, I basically have to do some type of teleprompter or something. And I have to write my scripts out completely because just riffing is really tough. It's improv. And I've never improv before. So I reached out to you right out the gate. And I'm like, yo, dude, I need your help. Can you help me write some scripts? And yeah, you did. You helped me write the scripts, and I did it on camera. And then we decided to do a video together. Do you remember the first video we did? Because I enjoyed it so much that it changed the show forever. It's like, oh, you guys don't want to just see me riffing. Like, we got to riff off each other. We're all part of this community, and this is better. Do you remember our first video?
I distinctly remember the first video, which is weird because I never remember anything, but I remember this one very clearly. It was about Jared
Fogle.
Correct.
Subway pedophiler.
Subway pedophile Jared Fogle. Yes,
We did a video about that because he has an appearance in DC Comics that was so strange. and we dove into that comic book.
That was our first little,
breakdown.
Comic breakdown, if you will.
I found it interesting because I
was
knew this book existed and we
bizarre.
found it. And it was a very bizarre video, but yeah, that's on the channel. But that was our first video, and that
Scroll
started
way
everything.
down. It's all down there.
And that's how we kind of got this whole thing rolling.
And that, led into some Infinity Gauntlet stuff. And, from then on there, we did the live shows and then mail call stuff started popping off around then. And then I started doing this full time.
There we go.
And now here we are.
Here we are. What do you think about that, comic fam? I mean, we kind of just breezed past 4 years to catching us to this point.
We had
But
to talk about Cinnabons and
But
stuff.
I think it's an important thing to mention that. Anthony says, "Hey, how did you meet Russ?" That's a video coming soon. I'm gonna have a podcast with him. Probably give you a break one of these weeks and kind of do a deep dive with Golden Age Guru and Russ, probably separately. Give them their own time to talk about where they came from and how we got to this point. But
Do you remember the first time Russ and I had a podcast together?
yeah,
The first time I ever sat down with him and talked to him?
was that the first time?
The first time I talked to, because I went to visit, he was like the shop owner.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
I mean, I talked to him for like 10 minutes
Yeah,
every
yeah.
week or so.
But he was there.
But him and I had a discussion on the microphone about poop.
Oh, that's right.
It was great.
Oh my gosh,
One of my favorite things
Was
I've
that
ever
like
done.
one of the first times you actually hung out with Russ?
That was the first time him and I were on camera together.
Oh,
And that's the first time I hung out with him. Yeah.
Wow.
At your house. And it wasn't just at the shop.
Batman Damned was the first time.
Like 2018 was when this whole thing started, man. And that was
Dude,
the
I had
summer.
so comic fam, like I'm friends with all these guys separately, but they weren't all friends with each other. Like I know Golden Age Guru through Russ and other people. Ryan knows them through me.
I think we all probably know each other through you.
Yeah, like everyone. I'm the.
You're the core of our galaxy, Tom.
There we go. I'm like the black hole.
You're like the Coruscant of our galaxy.
So that's interesting. The first time that you did an actual video with someone that you didn't know, that's a major staple of our channel, was about Bruce Wayne's Willie being seen for, I believe, the first time in comic books.
But we also started talking about poop.
Yeah, so Poop and Willie. So there we go. Poop and Willie, comic fam. This is where you get when you subscribe to the channel. Comic book themed content. Fire Guy Ryan is in the house, and this is a little bit of a flashback there. But yeah, we met at the bank, and I think it's another thing where it's like, you never know opportunities in your life. Like I didn't know I was going to meet one of my best friends at that time.
I hated that job.
I did too.
Worst job I've ever had.
Everything.
6 months. Less than 6 months.
It was rough.
Yeah.
It was definitely rough. I mean, but it's just how it goes.
After you left, I got talked to like, after you left, I would actually get called into the manager's office, but for bad reasons. They'd
Yeah.
be like, yo, you got to make more sales. You are bad at this. Like, if you don't put your numbers up, like, you're going to get in trouble.
There it is.
This didn't work for me.
But that's how you I don't know.
And you thankfully remembered that information that, hey, that Ryan guy is not very good at like pushing stuff on people. He's very easy to talk to.
Yeah.
And good at like making people's
A lot of
deposits and
other
withdrawals and
things.
stuff.
Actually, the thing that allured me most, that interested me most in getting you on the channel, aside from your ability to perform and like host, like you can do it. which is
Physical appearance.
aside from your sexiness.
Aside
of
from
course.
all of that.
It was that you had showed me a video you made in film school that you wrote. And that video had a couple random jokes in it that were like edited jokes where you had like a gun.
Okay. That's not on YouTube anymore, by the way. You can't find that anymore.
I know.
I'm so depressed. I loved that thing.
But
it was for a film contest we did. Me and some friends in college for like a 4-minute short film contest that you had to make within 72 hours.
Yeah.
Write it, film it, edit, and get it submitted in 72 hours.
So you did this thing and you told me like, yeah, you wrote it. Like you were part of like the joke writing and it was funny. And I remember thinking, oh, he gets it. The editing mind, the timing, knowing something that's going to make you uncomfortable. Maybe it may make you feel a little embarrassed to perform it, but when you edit it right, when you do it right, you put yourself out there, it still may suck. Doesn't matter. Do it again. And eventually it gets good.
We won the contest, man. I can't.
There we go.
There's no evidence of this. Actually, no, I still have the little there's a little fake Oscar thing that I have somewhere in my apartment
There we go.
on display, of course.
Well, that right there is what I took away from. It's like, oh, this person's got an improv bug that they can, if they grow it, maybe we can do something fun. And then we would actually do most of the videos on this channel earlier in the kind of conception. We're trying to figure out our footing. Was a lot of breakdown videos. I think our weekly videos are kind of like that, like when we do dives into reviews and such. But specifically, the videos about like one issue where we're reenacting stuff and we're picking stuff out that's funny and
Making silly voices.
Yeah.
Stuff that kind of carries on to today.
yeah, those are actually I look at that as the foundation of the channel and what trained me to do hosting stuff. But also the whole production, you know, figuring out how to manage the cameras, the audio, the microphones, the B-roll, all the above. Like I learned all of that through those times and those challenges, but that's how it goes. So you never know who you're going to meet in your life, comic fam. Sometimes you may be working a job that you feel like is dead end, but you know, that one friend there, maybe your best friend, it just may take a couple years for that to grow. And then now you work with us and we're doing all this stuff together and we're both in comics full time. What's up?
Life is weird. I kind of wish I could go back and like be a ghost observing that job interview or any one of those days where I would just like walk into that building like, oh my God, I hate this place. I hate working here. But just like,
Right.
it matters.
It does. You never know, comic fam. You never know. But something that I do know, absolutely know, without a doubt, is that the convention season is starting to come back, which is really cool. I'm going to Florida for the first one, which is, as far as the reason why the convention scene has ceased happening for a couple years, there's like no mandates over there.
Oh.
There's no, I'm like, but you have to wear masks? Do you have to show vaccine proof or anything? It's like, no, you're good to go.
It's Florida, baby.
You don't even need a shirt. You know, just come on in. You know, I don't actually know. I don't know what's going on. But I do know that it's like the restrictions are really low. So I'm going to be wearing a mask. I'm going to be like doing elbow bumps. But I'm going to MegaCon this week. I'll be there on Thursday. And with the convention scene rapidly approaching, I thought, hey, no better time than to give you some tips on the hunt. Specifically, some affordable tips by one of the most utilized applications of the entire team. And I'm talking Russ the Comic Sensei, you know, LCS owner. I am talking about myself just for like, just chilling. And I want to do stuff, you know? I'm trying to learn about funny books. We're talking Key Collector Comics. Key Collector Comics is available for both Androids and iPhones. Use Comictom101 to unlock a free 2-week subscription of the app. But the reason why it costs money is because there are a few categories that get updated every single week on a timeline that's built especially so that the members can get ahead of the curve on spec, investing, just, you know, information that is, if you are following it and you are hunting for it, you're in kind of like a special club because you have access to data that could get you ahead of a curve to give you valuable comics to work with or to be able to sell and make money off of. Thus, it's a subscription. However, 98% of the app, if not more, is free. There are so many categories on there. Comic books are uploaded to the app with specific qualifications so that the ones that are listed are only the ones you should that are like worth knowing about as it pertains to collectability and worth. They have to be selling at a certain rate. They have to be valuable to a certain amount. There have to be some type of level of significance that puts them on the app. So if you're searching for Action Comics because you're looking at a run of Action Comics, you don't want to be hit with every single issue. You're going to be scrolling all day long, and most of these books are $5. And you're looking for the books that are worth more than that when you're on the hunt. You're on your knees, you're underneath tables, you're going through long boxes, dollar bins, right? Well, the app will actually omit the comics that are not keys, that are not valuable enough, and they'll highlight the ones that you should care about. And that way, if you're going through a run, you're doing some hunting at a convention, you can skip the ones that you don't need, because if you do need them, it's probably because you're trying to fill a run.
I was going to say, unless you're like me and you're trying to get every Green Lantern comic ever.
Well,
yeah.
But if that's the case, the app is going to be for you as well because you can catalog what books you own. Thus, you can keep track of what you should hunt for. So whether you're collecting or trying to just keep track of your own collection, get suggested pricing, get approximate collection value, because if you upload your collection to the app, there's a approximate value that, you know, is a scale, but it'll give you kind of an idea of what you have. Well, there's a category on there that we got to talk about, and it's called $10 keys. I pulled books that I think are so worth $10 that if they're high grade enough, you should grab them no matter what. And I pulled books that I know that I have hunted for, that I always look for at cons. And when the convention season is so close, no better time to go through them. So I'm trying to give you some advice here and tell you about what goes through my noggin when I'm hunting. Number 10 on our list is, oh my gosh, what's this? Rob Liefeld? Youngblood? Issue number 2, first appearance of Prophet. Yes, $10 average sales on this book. And in March, this was hitting at a 9.8, about $200. Lows over this last month at a 9.8, $86. That's a big drop. However, in May 2020, we found out that there was a writer attached to develop a TV show for for Prophet. October 2021, that information, gone. Forget about it. We're getting a movie. Jake Gyllenhaal to star as John Prophet. Prophet apparently is coming to the big screen. This is a $10 book. It's still a book you can find on the cheap. Go for high grade copies. This is definitely not a book that I recommend you going straight 9.8, unless you can get it for around $80 right now, because again, it has hit heights of 200 bones. All right, there's also a variant copy of this. It has a pink title. This one right here is a book that Rob Liefeld has gone on record to say that is essentially the same print count. So it sells for the same amount. Don't get confused and think that because it's a variant that you should pay more money for it. Pay the same amount. If anything, buy the cover that you like more. Doesn't really matter as it pertains to spec, in my opinion. Ryan, you love Youngblood. You love Prophet. You love Rob Liefeld.
Looking at these images produces a undesirable reaction inside of me. But it's also because I was not a child in the 90s collecting comics back when these were, the hottest things in the world. So in retrospect, I can look back on them and feel gross.
West Coast Avengers, number 1, 1984. This is number 9 on the list. We had the first team appearance and origin of the West Coast Avengers: Hawkeye, Iron Man, which is Rhodes Iron Man, Wonder Man, Mockingbird, and Tigra. So we actually had Reggie Collects, shout out Reggie, on the most recent trending video, because he actually talked about Wonder Man being a great spec, specifically his first solo title, which you can also get for around $10 and find in the dollar bin. It got us talking about West Coast Avengers 1. I remember talking to him on the phone and him being like, look at this. You can get, he just started listing off all the heroes that are in the MCU that have been West Coast Avengers. Then we got to talking about, Kate Bishop in the Hawkeye series. The hideout, that her aunt's hideout was the person who provided the hideout for the West Coast Avengers in the run. And then we're talking about She-Hulk and how there's Immortal Man spec happening. By the way, have you seen what Immortal Man's going for at a 9.8? It's astounding, because there's rumors that Immortal Man may be in She-Hulk. And then we're talking about Moon Knight, who's also been a West Coast Avenger. And then we're talking about Mockingbird spec. I mean, it just keeps on happening where we point towards West Coast Avengers. And this is a book that is out there that you may be able to secure for cheap. And a lot of people aren't watching them. But this
Rom on the cover, the robot? Down there by the A?
That's Rom, yeah.
Weird.
There we go.
Okay.
Next on our list at number 8, Swamp Thing, number 67 from 1987. $10 average sales. This right here is a book that goes missed a lot because people are, specifically dealers, if it's not like that key appearance, if it's not early Swamp Thing, a lot of these books only go for like $5. What's notable about this one, Ryan?
It's the 6-page preview.
That's right.
Of Hellblazer.
Hellblazer 1, first solo title. Between all the Constantine hype, I don't know, man. We just got done talking about Green Hell.
We did.
That's like
the Constantine.
One of the big, I would say, it's not really a twist, but really one of the coolest parts of that book.
It's a surprise reveal.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a twist technically, but it was a cool reveal at the end.
Yeah, cool reveal is Constantine's part of it, and that's basically how it goes in DC Comics. Oh snap, we got Constantine. It's a good day, right? And we have HBO Max that's bringing over supposedly Strange Adventures. There's a good chance that Green Lanterns are happening on HBO Max. They're definitely expanding.
Better be.
The more of the mature content, which really DC has found their stride in clearly. So hopefully they go all in, which means more Swamp Thing and more Constantine. $10 for a preview appearance that people just don't have this cover in their brain when they're hunting. This is a book. If you find it for under $10, or if you find it high grade for 10, you are going to be happy you did. Next on the list, Batman 657, second full and first cover appearance of Damian friggin' Wayne. 2006, this is when it came out. A polarizing character, but a popular character nonetheless.
My favorite Robin.
Damian's your favorite Robin?
That's probably just because I like modern stuff the most.
Yeah. The kid's got spunk.
That's one word for it.
Right? What other words would you describe Damian as?
Shithead.
Yeah, he's example of a shithead, that's for sure.
He's a little...
He's definitely...
He's a brat.
He's a brat, but I like Robin as a brat.
Right. It makes his, when you pair him up with Batman, it makes him a little more interesting to read.
That's right. So this right here is just another one that I think is just a cool book, but you should know it. It doesn't have any other significance besides that. Second full appearance, but also first cover appearance. But I think that this is one that people are going to probably underestimate long term. I think Damian's going to have a great long-term history. There's not a whole lot of next-gen characters in the DC lore that seems to be... I mean, really, can you think of any that are really being focused on right now?
Apart from, like...
I mean, you got
Son of
Aqualad.
Kal-El. Yeah, Superman's son is now Superman.
I'm talking about in the movies.
Oh, God.
You have Young Avengers, everything right now at Marvel. What's
Sure.
DC got?
Well,
We may get
Movie-wise,
Teen Titans
yeah.
eventually,
maybe.
you know?
We got the show, I guess. The Titans show.
But that's pretty much it. And that's not really setting up a universe.
That's its own thing.
You know what I'm saying? Next one on this list. All right, we're getting into it. It's been long overdue. I got to tell you guys to know your Firestorm. Firestorm, the Nuclear Man. Comic fam, you got to know your damn Firestorm before you go hunting.
I remember there was a time when you wanted to make like a Fire Guide shirt or
And I use the Firestorm
with the logo
graphic.
or the trade dress or something like that.
You're hard to make happy, but
The
it
Fury
also looks
of Fire
weird.
Guy.
Yeah, that's right. That's
the
what we
Nuclear
did.
Man.
So here's the thing about Firestorm, the Nuclear Man. Do I care for the comics? Not so much.
I personally have never felt a great desire to read this character.
No one really does. There's a reason why this is a run that constantly introduced villains, because it just didn't do well. They were trying to like spice it up all the damn time. But what happened with Firestorm between the years, 1983 and 1985? Firestorm featured brand new villains. So many villains that you'll recognize came out of this run. There are few comic book runs from DC and Marvel both that are as not popular like Firestorm is, that have as many keys in the run as they do. You got to know your Firestorm comics. Not because of Firestorm, but because of the keys that are within it. So we're at like number 6 on the list. Spoiler, I'm going to hit you with a lot more comics than that. So hit the like button, slap the subscribe button. I'm going to take you through just a handful of Firestorm keys. Go to Key Collector, pull up the title search and just type in Firestorm and you'll pull up all the Firestorm comics. There's 2 different volumes. Go through them. You need to know them. Here is a taste. Firestorm, the Nuclear Man 35 is definitely not the book I wanted to talk about first. So this right here is the first appearance of Weasel. It's from the second run. Weasel was portrayed by James Gunn's brother in the Suicide Squad, the second rendition of the Suicide Squad movie.
Sean Gunn, I believe. The guy who does the
Correct.
CGI mocap work for Rocket Raccoon.
That's right. All right, but let's back it up a little bit here because I got ahead of myself. So that one right there was that. So let's go to 6. Let's go to 6. Here we go. This was actually the first one I want to tell you about. So this is Firestorm Nuclear Man issue number 28. First appearance of Slipknot, not the band. Shout out Joy Jordison, R.I.P. Slipknot appeared in the 2016 Suicide Squad movie. He was the character that they used as a example to the audience what happens if you leave the group and try to run away. The bomb in your noggin will go off, and Slipknot was on the screen for like under 5 minutes. However, this book I have purchased double digits for 50 cents to $1 in my life. Double digits, probably over 20 times. This is a book you just got to know. First Slipknot, it's been on the show. It's been in the movies before. He's been in like other renditions, but he's a very minor villain. But I'm just giving you a taste with this first one. Let's take a look at the next one.
Ropes. A guy who knows ropes. That's such a weird.
It's weird.
Okay.
Look at this one. Fury of the Firestorm #3, first appearance of Killer Frost. Yes. If you watch the CW Flash, you know who this is. But more importantly, Killer Frost is a character who comes in and out of DC Comics all the time. And her first appearance was in Fury of the Firestorm #3. Wow, I said early 80s. This was 1978, by the way. So late 70s was this. This is from the first run. First appearance of Killer Frost. The second run
for ice powers in general too. So
right,
Killer Frost is my jam.
Firestorm #1 from the second run, starting in 1982. First appearance of Black Bison. First appearance of of Lorraine Riley, who becomes Firehawk. This is another book that you can find on the cheap that in high grade, because of the white border plus light blue cover, is very difficult to secure in high grade. Members are willing to pay upwards of $15 to $20 for a book that's not worth it, just to know that they have a high grade copy. Keep an eye out for Fury of the Firestorm issue #1. Also, issue #6. This is a fun one. A lot of people don't know about this, but Masters of the Universe #1, there was a 14-page preview.
That's a lot. That's like a whole issue almost.
Yeah, it's like 7 pages front and back. Of
Damn.
In Firestorm the Nuclear Man #6, the second volume, right? There is a 14-page preview of Masters of the Universe. There are 16 individual issues that got this preview between July and August 1982. This was one of those issues. And look at this here. 5 issues were the first to have the preview. Firestorm 6, this was one of them. DC Comics Presents 51, Justice League of America 208, Wonder Woman 297. So you can actually find multiple issues and complete a run of this, but it's a $5 book. If you look at this book, if you don't know it off the cuff, you are not going to know that it has the Masters of the Universe preview on the inside. Let's keep it going. Because Plastique's first appearance happened in Firestorm the Nuclear Man #7 in 1982. Like, are you counting how many first appearances are in this run that no one cares about and no one knows? Let's keep it going. Average sales right now for a high value copy or a high grade copy, $3. However, in higher grade, people will be willing to pay 15 to 20 plus all day long. Keeping it going.
That's gotta be a bad sign, man. If your comic is just not doing good, like, let's throw a new villain. Let's throw a new villain. Come on, guys, a new villain. Please buy our book. And
they did it so many times that other writers would source villains from this run, and then they did it so good that all of a sudden Plastique matters.
Sure, Killer
Frost matters, but then it didn't matter. And there's more. Let's keep it going. Firestorm the Nuclear Man 21. This is the death of the first Killer Frost, first appearance of the second Killer Frost. Another $4 issue. So more Killer Frost. This next one, I think a lot of members are going to like. First appearance of Felicity from the Arrowverse.
Felicity Smoke.
Smoke. Thank you. Felicity Smoke. I thought it was, Smoke, yeah?
It looks like Smoke, but yeah, it's Smoke.
I thought it was Smoke, Felicity Smoke, but maybe it's Felicity Smoke. Felicity Smoke. From the Flash series,
Arrow.
Felicity.
She was an Arrow.
Oh, that's right. She was an Arrow character. Was she?
Yep.
Or I thought she was. No, you're right.
She might have been in both. I mean,
she was in both, but she was an Arrow character. Thank you. Completely different type of character from the comics. I know. She's gorgeous. And a character, she's like a fan favorite from that whole series. This is her first appearance. She was a random character that was introduced in issue 23. Average sales reflect that because she was a fan favorite. $15 average sales, first appearance of Felicity. Didn't stop there. Debut of Blue Beetle and Blue Beetle. Rewind. I need a rewind button.
Blue guy.
Blue Devil, who was a Swamp Thing spec when the show was actually happening. There's a 16-page promotional issue in Firestorm the Nuclear Man issue #24. This book hit heights of like $20 to $40 at one point because of the Swamp Thing show. This right here is a tough book. It's thicker because of this extra 16-page original story. It makes it really tough to secure in high grade. And yeah, there's like an origin, first appearance of Bug and other things. But the main thing is Blue Devil first appears in issue 24. Wow. Ryan, we're ending with Weasel. I spoiled it already, but Firestorm the Nuclear Man 35, first appearance of Weasel. How it's like sometimes runs have 1, 2, or maybe even 3 key books. I'm talking like there are runs with like 60 comics in it, and there is one book that's a minor key of a character who dies, and it's a $3 book. Like, go on Key Collector. You can find these books.
I'm thinking like what, like Swamp Thing, right? The Constantine key is like the big one.
Yeah,
right?
Justice League Dark a little bit, but like first issue, but like, Alan Moore first, like this right here.
Couple. Yeah.
But it's like under 10, right? Under 15. These aren't the only Firestorm issues that you gotta know, comic fam. Keep up on your Firestorm. Know your Firestorm keys. It's gonna make you dangerous on the hunt. I always check the Firestorm section at conventions for this reason, and I have for over 10 years.
Sometimes I call him Danger Tom because he's so dangerous on the hunt.
That's very, very true. Comic fam, hit the like, slap the subscribe button. We weren't done reading comics because, dude, I think my favorite of all the comics I read over this last week was Carnage. There will be Carnage in this run. There's already Carnage in this run. The movie's got nothing on this narrative that is unfolding in this run.
Still haven't seen that movie. Venom 2
is this comic by?
It's written by Ron V with art by Francesco Mana.
This is Mana.
Probably Mana.
This right here is not what I was expecting. I also was surprised about the writer being on it.
Ron V is
like he's really good.
Sure, you got like some writers who are good at making like a cool mystery or some cool dope action sequences or whatever.
He's like a writer's writer.
You got your Donny Cates and your Jimmy T's. They're great comic writers, but Ron V is like on a different level. Like Many Deaths of Layla Starr is a phenomenal book. His Swamp Thing comic right now is really, really, really good. And then I heard he's going to be jumping on to Carnage.
And Carnage is like it's a wild, almost monster type of story. It's like
I always think of symbiotes as like 14-year-old boy comics. Like that's in my head.
90s.
I feel guilty for reading a symbiote
weapons
story.
And aliens and
stuff,
stabbing,
and cool.
eating you, and it's cool because we're 90s kids.
Bad boys.
Good video game characters for sure.
Sure, but like a guy like Ram V writing this.
and Carnage though. What
the hell?
And he's also on Venom, so he's
co-writing Venom with Al Ewing. It's a little strange.
I'll tell you, I was not expecting this to be what it was. I was shocked by Ram V being on this, but I was even more shocked to find out that we're getting character development of a symbiote. What? Because if you're up on your Carnage, by the way, 30-year celebration for the red symbiote. This character is traditionally known as being an extension of Cletus Cassidy. Right. Cletus is a psychopathic, maniac, murderer who goes on rampages, who's just, Carnage Mind Bomb. Read that and you'll know how crazy this character is. And the personality of Carnage is really Cletus. And the wrongdoings that are empowered by Carnage is really Cletus. Carnage Forever, we have some changes that take place. And Cletus is removed
Carnage
from the
Forever
situation.
Being like a little one-shot that was right. It'd be like a 0 issue for this Carnage run.
Yeah, the symbiote has separated from the host.
Right.
Cletus still exists. His codex is in the symbiote, which is bonded to like a Null Dragon and then teamed up with Iron Man Stark type of
some
weaponry.
Weird stuff happened at the end of King in Black.
But we'll table Cletus for now because this isn't about Cletus. This is about Carnage. Yes, the alien itself. The alien itself is discovering what it means to be alone and how to grow and what it is and what it could become. This story is not about Cletus. It's about the symbiote and the symbiote personified. It has feelings, apparently. It thinks for itself, just like Venom does. But I don't think we've ever really seen a symbiote tale like this.
Just like they're normally just like a puddle on the ground waiting for,
Yeah.
Eddie Brock or Cletus to come by for them to latch onto.
Carnage is his own character in this. We're learning
Right.
about him.
This actually kind of feels like a really good like sequel series to Absolute Carnage during the Donny Cates Venom run. If you want to know like what the next big Carnage story to read after that.
There we go. We're here.
And we're only 2 issues in. Pretty early on in this run.
I cannot recommend this title enough. I had so much fun reading this. We start off with Hydro Man being dissected symbiotically. I'm making up words here, but
It's a real word.
it's a real word, but
I don't know if-
not in the way that I'm
By
describing.
a symbiote, yeah.
By a
sure.
symbiote with symbiotic powers.
This is gross though. Like on that middle panel, it looks like is he like pulling his face apart? Like this book is also very, very hardcore. Like for a Marvel comic, especially like a parent company Disney. Like this is kind of surprising the darkness that they went for in this story. But that's kind of what you need for Carnage.
Muscles and limbs moved by memory, brain on auto, lungs inhaling fumes, heart pumping.
It's caustic.
Caustic
It looks like
into
an L.
veins.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little blurry on my screen here. So we have a story that is beautifully written because it's not just about Carnage. And if anything, it's about 2 other characters that have an equal level of fascination with one another. That makes the viewer so intrigued that if Carnage was removed from this,
Yeah.
I would still be okay with it.
Yep.
What?
I agree.
God damn,
It's
good.
called Carnage, and he's definitely a big presence in this comic, but the focus of this story is on a detective, a police officer, hunting down a serial killer.
This serial killer is leaving bodies in his wake, and he's displaying them like it's a damn art project. We have a person who's such a fanboy of Carnage in Cletus Cassidy that he is trying to befriend by doing a string of killings, displaying these bodies in a way that is atrocious. We have, just describe it, a body being hung up upside down by chains with a empty, what would you call that? Like a tray underneath him for a
Okay.
reason. Because what you're going to see is what's inside the body. It's been stuffed with something that's moving. The blood starts to splatter on the ground and butterflies start to come out of the body. Like
Like a cocoon
like a
metaphor?
cocoon,
Is that what's
yeah.
happening? Yeah.
Something new.
It's definitely like a very twisted art exhibit, but with a dead body.
And what's on the ground? Of course, you have the symbol, the Carnage swirl.
That we saw in Absolute Carnage.
Yes.
Bring it back to the Kate stuff.
That's right. So we have a killer that is being named the Artist. And this artist, clearly because he's doing these like terrible science projects, right?
Butterfly Corpse.
Yeah, no good. He is doing a
That's my metal
calling.
band name, by the way.
Butterfly Corpse?
Yeah, when I make a band and we're gonna be metal, that's gonna be the name. Butterfly Corpse.
How about Caterpillar Corpse?
No, it's not as cool.
Not as cool. You're right. Butterfly Corpse is better.
right.
So the artist is calling to Carnage. And what's really intriguing is that Carnage is on a quest itself. It's
Yeah,
trying to do
itself.
something.
Yeah, you can't really call it a him anymore because it's just an alien.
Yeah,
And there's
themselves.
No
you know,
host.
Right?
Carnage itself. Yeah, it pops. He's like jumping through his window here in the middle of the night. Like, hey, I've seen all these weird murders you've been doing, trying to get my attention. Like, hey, good job, I guess, cool. But like, I'm good. I'm trying to do my own thing right now. I guess if you want to hang out with me, we can roll together. But I'm not going to bond with you.
Yeah, he doesn't need to. And
Right.
I think that's probably one of the first times in this book where I'm like, oh man, this is a new direction here. Carnage knows what it's like to bond with a psychopath. And there was a time for that in its lifespan. But now, he doesn't need Cletus. He's on his own. He essentially has a Cletus 2.0 here. Someone who is methodical, someone who's dangerous, someone who is probably less emotional about, its reasons for being vindictive in committing these atrocious crimes. This guy is, the artist that is doing it with purpose.
Right. Cletus seemed a little more unhinged and, yeah, like insane almost.
Unpredictable because
Yeah.
he's mentally unstable. All of these guys are mentally unstable. However, this person is doing it because he is trying to befriend and become a host of Carnage. So he's definitely with it a bit more than Cletus.
But still crazy.
But still very crazy. Butterfly Corpse. We just talked about it. So we have 3 different narratives taking place. We have a detective who's after the artist, who is also doing terrible, terrible things and is a villain in his own right. But then on top of that, we have Carnage, who the artist is obsessed with.
Yes.
Trying to befriend Carnage. But then Carnage, what is Carnage's focus right now? Evolving.
He's really kind of doing his own thing. And he learns that he can kind of take apart superpowered people and absorb their powers. It reminded me a lot of Heroes.
Yeah, a little bit.
Like Sylar.
It's like in your DNA.
Right. He can kill you and take your abilities,
That's
which is
right.
what happens to Hydro Man here. He ends up absorbing water powers from him.
He's like extracting what makes Hydro Man, which is at a molecule level of like, hydrogen at a molecule level.
A very gross, scary body horror kind of scene.
And Carnage is becoming something new. And I'm not even going to show you what he becomes, but you have to see it. We are seeing, for the first time, character development of a symbiote that I didn't even know we needed it for.
Yeah, and it's honestly, like, the Carnage element of this is one thing, but I really appreciate all of the depth we're getting into with the detective, especially. Like, there's a lot of scenes of him questioning, like, why am I so fascinated by this artist serial killer? Why is my job, my whole reason for being, to chase this guy, to focus on him, to catch him? And he thinks about, like, he's living alone. His apartment is just full of empty, like, food boxes and old beer cans and, like,
kind of like that classic, you're just too obsessed with the job, police role, detective role, that it ruins your life because your job has now become your life.
So this comic has some cool commentary about the nature of obsession and what that does to a person, whether or not you're a cop, a good guy, or a murdering serial killer psychopath.
Or an alien from another planet.
Who's trying to kill
offspring
people
of
and
Venom.
gain more abilities himself. So all 3 of these guys have their own obsession, and they're all kind of... It's only 2 issues in, so I don't know where the hell they're going with this or what's going to happen when they start meeting up more often, but 2 issues in, I'm very much on board.
So we're not going to get too much into issue number 2, but what I will say is that the obsession doesn't just stop with Carnage, detective, artist, Carnage. Carnage has a low-key interest in the detective. He finds it fascinating that these are the decisions that he makes, that he is actively trying to hunt down the artist at all costs, that he's putting himself in danger. He finds it humbling. He finds it, the drive that he has as inspiring to a degree.
But he sees something else under the surface, I think, in this guy too. And I'm interested to see where they go and what happens with their relationship.
The connection between Carnage and the detective is getting more and more interesting, and you find out where that's going in issue 2. But I'll leave that to the comic fam, because you got to support the industry. You got to pick up these comics. They're too damn good to miss.
I got to mention something too. I've been doing on my channel every month. I go through and rank my 5 favorite comics every month, and Carnage is 2 issues in, and both of those issues have hit my honorable mentions list. So these are like within my top 10 favorite comics of the last 2 months. Like, this is a really, really, really interesting, cool, unique book, and I'm just waiting for it to actually crack into my top 5 favorites of the month, which it's coming. I think this book is only going to get better.
Let me know in the comment section below. Are you reading Carnage? What's your favorite part of this book? Do you agree with us? I want to hear what the community is reading. And if you are as hyped to see the type of direction that we're going with Carnage, celebrating the 30 years, which is fantastic. Let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like, slap the subscribe button. Don't forget, I'll enter you to win a Omni-Man variant. And if you enjoy our shows but find yourself having to pause a bunch because it's on YouTube, maybe you don't pay for YouTube Red, so you have to have your phone on the entire time, we actually cut these videos down and post them as clips over the next week. Also, we extract the audio, enhance it, and then put it on SoundCloud, Spotify, Stitcher, and iTunes for your listening pleasure if you don't want to have the screen going the entire time. Give us a rating on any of the platforms that allow ratings to take place. It does go like really far for us if you rate us on iTunes, things like that. We appreciate it. And also, that's podcast number 60. We did it. Wow.
Sure?
That was it. That's our whole list. We did it.
We did the whole thing?
We did the whole thing. Comic fan, we appreciate your time today. as always,
don't forget to geek responsibly.
enough said. And that's the show. Dude, I gotta go to the bathroom so bad. I have to pee.
You do?
Oh my goodness. I started holding it in before the Carnage stuff. I'm surprised I made it.
We would have had a little Carnage of your own over there
True.
on the chair.
It's very true.